Now, let's talk about something that causes a lot of trouble around South Africa, copper. It's a very valuable resource, and its theft has been an ongoing issue, one that costs South Africa's economy an estimated 16 million rand a month. Major companies such as Telkom and Eskom are victims, and the inner city is also rife with cable theft. Copper syndicates and illegal connections have also been attributed to cable theft, some of which are either politically or economically related. Leon Pretorius, an expert from BMW, joins us to tell us a little bit more. Welcome to the studio. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we talk about copper. The price of copper is very, very high. What other factors entice people to steal copper?
It's easy cash. You pick up some copper, take it to a scrapyard, and you get cash. It's actually, after clothes and cash itself, it's the most stolen item in South Africa at this stage.
Yeah.
But just to take you to the beginning of your introduction, it's not 16 million rands a month. It's from 7 to 16 billion rands a year that South African economy loses from a consequential perspective. South Africa at this stage is the world champion in the report of copper cases. Yeah. You know, Ohio in America is the largest state. They reported 2,300 cases for 3 years. We reported 72,000 cases in Gauteng alone for a year. Now, that's a difference between us and everybody. Copper as a source, it's actually killing this economy.
It is insane. Is there an alternative to copper?
There is alternatives. They are working very much towards it, but the conductor capacity of copper is still not designed out of any other metal. They use aluminium, they use metals, they actually embed copper within steel or in aluminium, so that when you actually burn it, it becomes sludge, so you don't have any value to sell it. It's all these type of things, but aluminium is 3 times the size of copper when you want to use it to do the same thing. So you can see there's a volume and a mass implication for industry as soon as they start to look at that.
Talk to me about the market. So you've got these guys that steal the copper. What are the purposes? How does it go back into the system? How does it actually work?
Some of it does go back, because if you steal your copper, you must replace it again.
Yes.
But there's such a high demand overseas for copper. You know, China must build something like 5 new cities the size of London in the next 10 years. So all of the copper goes there. And we have syndicates trading in copper into the African countries and to other economies as well. So it is a very, very demanding commodity that's demanded in the market.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about rhino poaching syndicates, which has become a menace to our society, and it's devastating our rhino population.
Yeah.
Copper syndicates, I mean, this is clearly what's operating in the country.
And you know, they're worrying about rhinos, so do I. But copper theft at this stage is causing this country to lose essential services.
Yeah.
Any conductor, any electricity light that you see, any emergency theatre operates with copper. So yes, that is basically where our copper, the value of that is. So yes, rhino and these type of things are important, but I sometimes think copper is killing the economy directly, quickly.
Yeah, so we've got these major syndicates.
Yeah.
What can we do? What measures can be put in place to try and stop this? Because, like you say, it's an easy steal.
It is a very complicated crime, because it spans the whole system of our country, the social ecology in its totality. You get guys that steal because of subsistence needs. You get people that steal for greed. You get people that actually come into from countries, neighboring countries, where they actually come as military guys on leave, and they go and steal, and they go back with the copper. So there's many reasons why people steal copper, but the most essential one is because the easy access it gives to cash. But the measurements that need to be put in place is basically simple again. It is for South African criminal justice system to enforce the act that they've just brought into play, so the Act of 2009, number 3, for the Second Goods Act. The police just don't have the capacity to enforce that act. Yeah. And therefore, it's still a free-for-all, and copper is, as I say, it's like cash. In a country where there's unemployment and poverty, that's the way to go. The people steal to survive.
Yeah.
And that is not just to say the syndicates. Syndicates are very, very specialist. We have even called a syndicate where they sent guys to university or colleges to go and learn how conductors work, to operate and to steal it better. So yeah, syndicates it's a big money. The guys that we usually catch is the guys that work for the syndicates, and the syndicates get away. And unfortunately, the scrapyards who is actually buying that copper, because if that was not the scrapyard buying the copper, there wouldn't have been a demand to sell the copper. They are very much involved, indirectly or directly. But because it's not enforced, one of the scrapyard guys told me, unless it's enforced for all, we will still buy it, because otherwise we lose out on the profit share thereof.
Goodness me. You've really opened our eyes to this. Thank you for joining us here on the program. Leon Pretorius is BMW's Chief Security Officer, talking to us about copper and the problems that South Africa is going through due to this rampant copper theft that happens. You know, you're affected when you don't have lights, when your telephone's not working, when the Gautrain is not working, when all of these things just suddenly come to a dead standstill. 9 times out of 10, it's the theft of copper to blame. Thank you. Thanks for joining us on the program.